Man, this debate or quasi-interview debate between Haya Rychek, Libs of TikTok, better known as, and Taylor Lorenz was rough. It was rough on both ends. This was like I watched this Instagram reel where somebody had two unarmed martial arts people, so they had literally had no arms, and they were kind of throwing their shoulders at each other. That's what we saw here. Let's pick this up. This is an easy question. So it's Taylor Lorenz is the one with the mask. So this is how bizarre it is. Taylor Lorenz is wearing a mask, and then Libs of TikTok has the shirt of Taylor Lorenz crying, and it didn't. I saw people thinking it was a big own. It didn't even look like a own, especially since he didn't do well in the interview. I would not have recommended that her because it just looked silly, and it didn't trigger Taylor or anything. It just was kind of weird. So you're picking it up at the great replacement theory.
The great replacement stuff, because I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that whole ideology?
I mean, how many? There were times that there were some months over the past 3 years that there were more illegals coming into our border than children being born in the U.S. Does that not look like they're trying to replace us?
I guess.
So these are bad. So this is bad from Libs of TikTok. Why are you asking her that question? When you come into this interview, I'm just replaying the tape. Again, I'm not against her, and I'm not saying I would do a better job. That's not what this is about. It's about just breaking it down. This happened. This was a thing. And you saw big accounts astroturfing like she did well, and she didn't. And I know behind the scenes, they'll probably give her the honest feedback, but I'm giving her the honest feedback now. What is the point of going to this interview? I don't know. She looks like she doesn't want to be there. You don't ask her a question like that. You have to decide, if I'm going to this interview, am I there? What is the purpose? So for me, I would be like, let me think about, maybe we can find some areas of agreement, Taylor Lorenz and I. Maybe my goal in going to the interview would be, I know we've had our beef in the past. Maybe we'll find areas of agreement. Or I could go into it saying, I want to speak beyond Taylor Lorenz. I don't care about her. I'm not asking her. I don't care what she thinks. I'm getting my ideas out there into the world. So Libs of TikTok doesn't have a plan. We talk about great replacement theory. First of all, I'm going to define that. What does that mean? Some people, I think, will mistake it for white or black, or some people might purposely say it's white replacement or purposely say it's black replacement. That's fine. They'll have to argue that point. But for me, it's American replacement, disenfranchisement. It's another way to steal money from the American taxpayers, just like the wars, just like COVID response. And I would go from that standpoint of American culture. We're bringing people where they're not sending their best. They're sending people from Africa and China, and we can't even afford all of these people, much less process them through. So, but she doesn't have an answer for that. She's not ready. This isn't good. That's a layup. That question about great replacement is a layup.
Sort of
They're
imagine
bringing in
America
a whole
as
new population.
a melting pot. Isn't that sort of what America was founded
No,
on?
but they're actually bringing in more people than are actually being born.
So I guess if you...
America's not founded as on a melting pot. America's founded on the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And we should only be bringing people in who understand that. It's the last bastion of freedom. The belief in those pieces of paper is the last bastion of freedom in the world. We shouldn't be letting random people in here at a rate that we can't even afford, that don't even know about our culture. The concern is American culture, and I'm not even going to talk. My approach would not to be talk to Taylor Lorenz. I don't know if Libs of TikTok thought Taylor Lorenz was stupid. She's not a stupid person. I'm not talking to her, I don't care. I actually honestly don't care what she thinks. So I think that was the biggest mistake. She should have went into the interview with a plan. And to me, the only way this interview makes sense is that Taylor paid her. Other than that, I don't know why Libs of TikTok agreed to even do it.
It sounds like you sort of do ascribe to this theory of the great replacement. How does that make
I just
you
look at the
feel?
facts and the numbers.
Well, so, I mean, just let's give a corollary, right? A lot of Jewish people fled, Europe, came over here also as immigrants. and there's a lot of criticism towards Jewish people in those movements.
Okay,
in
let's
those
skip
far-right
ahead to 18 minutes. About 18 minutes, here's another example, just to back up my statement of saying why she wasn't ready. Taylor Lorenz asks Libs of TikTok, well, what's your plan for your business, your Twitter account, basically your whole industry now over the next 5 to 10 years? That's a layup. That's for you to promote. I don't even know what my plan is over the next 5 to 10 years, and that's not good. But what I would do is take the time to say, I want to evolve 5 to 10 years from now. I want my website. I want bigger reach. I'm going to try to evolve with the times to meet the needs for the topics that people want to talk about. And the business that you've been in, print media, internet media, they've been going through rough times because they have not been able to adapt and evolve. I want to adapt and evolve. I started out, got big by just taking TikToks and just showing people what was going on. And now I've evolved to people feed me inside information. I'm an independent journalist now. I'm breaking inside stories, so I'm always evolving. It's a layup. She doesn't even have any passion about it. Why is she there? What is the point of this?
But I'm not going to get into my personal life.
Oh, no, not about your personal life. I'm just wondering about your career aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
We'll see. You can make all the plans you want, and God could decide something else. So
you don't have any sort of 5-year plan, 10-year plan?
I mean, I have plans, but nothing I'm going to share.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, if Trump was reelected, would you be interested in a job with his administration?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Who are you supporting in the election?
There's one candidate, Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Will you be campaigning on his behalf?
We'll see.
I mean, I'm not voting for Trump, and I sound more excited about Trump. I don't know what's happening.
Are you hoping to kind of...
Did somebody have some type of threat over her or something? She doesn't even look engaged, like she wants to be there. Don't do the interview if this is what you're going to do. And I gave her credit for having the discussion, and now my take has evolved. I don't know what this is, so no, I don't give you credit. I'd rather you not have the discussion. And here's the other thing. Everybody doesn't have to evolve. Getting behind this mic ain't easy. Getting behind any mic is not easy. I give her credit for having the courage to do so. She doesn't have to, though. She can go on safe programs where it's much better. She doesn't. Why is she doing this? This is not where she lives. Everybody has a role to play, and that's okay. If your role is breaking those stories where people are feeding it to you, or you're finding out, you're doing undercover. She approached AOC. I like that kind of stuff. Go where your strengths are. This ain't your strength. You still do every once in a while these videos that look crazy. Now that she started that, she was the pioneer that blew it up. There's so many other accounts that do that, but she can still get back in that game a little bit and then mix it up with other things. But don't do this. This is not good.
I guess, would you see yourself in D.C.?
I haven't made any plans yet.
How did you get connected with Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, and how many times have you been?
These are all good questions from Taylor Lorenz. They're all fair, good questions. I didn't hear one question in this whole 50. I listened to the whole thing, so you don't have to. And obviously, I'm going to be just reacting. So if you want to hear it, go find it. I'll put a link in the description. But to the whole interview. But Taylor Lorenz had fair questions. And I don't know what this is here with her look, her face. It's just not a good presentation.
That state.
I was there once. They have, unfortunately, a lot of wokeness in their red state, and I'm trying to help.
How'd you originally how'd Oklahoma get on your radar as opposed to some others?
Because I started posting about the stuff going on in schools there, like I do across the country. And then, people were very upset that this was happening in their schools.
She doesn't sound like somebody I would want to represent me. She's not articulate enough. This is embarrassing. If you don't know the story, Haya Rychek that we're seeing right here, she was appointed as an advisor to the Oklahoma State Library Committee. This decision was announced by the head of the state education department. And so I don't know, that's a good question. How did they hook up to do that? Or I don't know. But, it's kind of controversial because there were threats in a library, that they're trying to go with the stochastic terrorism to blame Taylor Lorenz. She didn't do a good job kind of navigating that in this discussion either. But her appointing her sparks discussion. It sparks controversy just due to who she is. And I don't know, the decision, to me, they defended the decision and they praised her for exposing the radical left and stuff like that. But to me, for her, I would say because we had a relationship and they wanted to appoint me. That's the argument with the books. So they talked about the books. I'm not going to play that clip here, but they talked about the books banning. Taylor Lorenz went with the free speech angle of it. And my take on it, she had a terrible answer. My take on it would be the people in the community should be able to decide. So you see the mothers and the fathers, they're going to the school board meetings. They decide what content. Free speech doesn't mean anything out in the world. Like, it doesn't mean that you see the babies being unlived in the Middle East in your classroom with 2-year-olds just because, or 5-year-olds or second graders, just because it's free speech, free speech. No, the community decides what goes in the schools and what doesn't. Free speech doesn't mean everything goes in the schools, including that prawn that they try to pass as LGBTQ friendly stuff. Let's continue with Libs of TikTok.
So, and you've been once. What do you think qualifies you to be on the board, or have to do with education, the education system there? Being that I don't believe you have children in the Oklahoma schools, you don't live in Oklahoma, you've only been once. How does that qualify you to sort of serve in that capacity?
What are the qualifications that they require to be on this committee?
USA Today reported on that, but I believe it was that you had to. Oh God, I might get it wrong, but I think you have to be some sort of educator. You have to have worked as an educator.
Okay, I was a teacher once.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay. So you feel like that qualifies you to sort of inform policy?
Let's skip ahead to, she asked Taylor, do you regret not getting a blue check? Another just piece of evidence, like she's not ready. What kind of question is that? Who cares? Because what she's saying is Taylor Lorenz could be monetized on X. She's a corporate shill. She gets her paycheck by exposing people. She wasn't going to interview Nick Fuentes like this. She would have got shredded to pieces. Taylor Lorenz knows that. She knows she's actually, don't underestimate your opponents. People underestimated Fannie Willis, Nathan Wade. They're corrupt, not stupid. Taylor Lorenz is corrupt and more of she's just a bootlicking ladder climber. Her articles are actually good. Her neutral articles, she's a good writer. She's a smart person. And here's a question from Libs of TikTok that is just irrelevant, makes no sense.
But actually one of them, we know it's like some foreign actor, not even from the country. So who knows who it is.
Yeah. It seems like Twitter is your main platform these days, although I know you've been posting on Rumble. How much money have you made from the platform?
It's personal.
Mm-hmm. Is that what sort of portion of your revenue is based on Twitter as opposed to other platforms?
That's personal.
So she doesn't have any opinions. So I agree that I wouldn't be disclosing. Why would I disclose to her that? But that is a fair question because that's what Taylor Lorenz is. She lives in that world with creators, and obviously she's taken it to a corporate level, but she does live in that world with how much money do these people make online. And what I would tell her is I'm happy with what I'm making online. Here's the problem that I have though online. Dom Luker, for example, was making money online. We're just using him as an example. And he got demonetized recently. I don't know if he's got remonetized or not. Last I heard, he was demonetized and he didn't get a payout. Why? Because Elon Musk said he got community noted too many times. I don't want to bring it to Taylor, but for people who believe in free speech, Elon Musk ain't that. He bans people. We now have a monetized platform, which makes it more important, more powerful in the culture war than before. Don't worry about how much money I make. I want the playing field even. If somebody's making money, if an advertiser wants to advertise on people's account, let them advertise on their account. Why are you stepping in? And then Elon lying about the advertisers don't want your account. Some Chinese yo-yo advertising on X. They don't care if they're advertising on Dom's account or not. And that same thing trickles down to everybody else. And if your account is monetized and ads are on your post, you get boosted in the algorithm. If you buy a blue check, you get boosted in the algorithm. I actually agree with the AOC on that. That doesn't make any sense. That's anti-free speech. See, I have positioned on these things. She hasn't thought through it. Don't do this. I'm now very strong. I would say, and I'm just going to end on that. I'm just going to end on this for her. Don't do this again. It gets uglier from there. I mean, it's just not a good, and Taylor wasn't great either, but she was against somebody who wasn't ready. And if you're going to have those type of discussions, you got to sharpen your philosophical knives beforehand, and you have to go into it with a plan, and that didn't happen here. Let me know what you think.